Taking a break from podcasting can be good for your health, but how well will you spend your downtime? Here are 10 smart on-break activities that should make your next season even stronger. Hello and welcome to another podcast Pontifications with me, Evo-centric. I am a huge fan of making your podcasting into seasons and also taking season breaks. Big fan of that. Now, not all of my fellow podcasting pundits agree. Many think you should just go and keep going, and hey, you do you. But I like breaks. And also, I should mention that many podcasters, especially those that can directly trace revenue to their output, like most of those are getting advertising or some sort of sponsorship deals and they're only paid when they make episodes, that's hard for them to take a break. I get it. But for the rest of us, those that are not tied directly to revenues, meaning when we put out episodes we don't get a paycheck at the end of the day, we can take breaks. And I strongly feel that we should take breaks. However, I also strongly feel that some of us, like this guy, need some guidance and need some activities to do so that they're not just, laying on the couch binging the latest random show they've discovered on television while they're not putting out episodes. Got it. So I thought to help figure that out, I would list out for you 10 ideas of things you can do when you put your show on break. Here we go. In no particular order. Number one, that feed cleanup that I mentioned on, I believe it was one of last week's episodes, where instead of having 310 episodes in one long feed, that doesn't get displayed in most directories that way, breaking it up into multiple feeds. There'll be a link to the episode in the in-app details as well as on the article posted on the website. But that would be a really good idea. A good thing to do during your downtime is just clean it up so that new people, when they encounter the feed, aren't overwhelmed by too many choices. The second thing you could do is finish shoring up your website. If you're anything like me and you hastily assembled a website at the beginning of the year while you were putting out content and it's mostly good but not perfect, now is a great time to go do all of the things you didn't do. Yeah, you got the fundamentals right. But what about the extra bits and pieces that you need to put on there? That's great to focus on during your break. On the topic of the website, number 3, spending some quality time with Google Search Console, also known as Google Webmaster Tools, is a very smart thing to do. I'm not getting into SEO. I've talked about SEO on several episodes. But Google Search Console is, I think, the most undervalued SEO tool in your arsenal. And you don't have to be an SEO wizard to use it because it just shows you what Google Search is sending to your podcast website right now. So spending some time with that is a really good idea. Number 4, you might hire a professional brander, a professional to help you with the branding of your show. Again, if you're like me and you've used tools like Canva, which enable you to pretend you're a designer, it might be a good idea during your break to contract with someone who is a professional. Now that you've got your show under your belt, maybe you've got 310 episodes out and you know the direction, maybe it's time to bring somebody into the fold who really understands how they can take that concept that you've refined over the last 2 years and make some visually compelling pieces of it. Number 5, it's a really good time to replenish the well. And by that I mean the well of topics, ideas, guests, whatever it is you need to do. During your downtime, keep a list of all the things you think about doing an episode with, then start doing an episode. but just write down the title. Just write down the title and the topic and the angle, any notes that you need, so you're ready to go when your season break comes up. On the flip side of that is maybe that is such a compelling news and information that comes out while you're on break that you should put out some bonus content episodes. Go ahead. Thanks to Apple, we now have those bonus tags, so you can announce to the people that you're doing a season break, but then you can drop a handful of episodes here and there during that break if that's really important. You can also, number 7, I believe, guest appear on a lot of podcasts. If you're doing a daily show like mine, and you're already spending 3.5, 4 hours doing a show, it's hard to promote yourself and your show because you get behind the microphone for your show, but not other shows. Well, when you're not putting out the effort to make new content, put out the effort to reach out to other shows and get on those shows and start guesting, building your audience that way, because your show's still there, right? People can still subscribe to the thing while you're on break. Number 8 would be upgrading your equipment. If you've been doing it a long time, you've probably been making a lot of things work, but maybe you thought, the sound could be better. Maybe the video camera, if in fact you were videoing yourself and using that in other areas, much as I do here on LinkedIn Live, maybe that's an upgrade you should do. Maybe you need some better sound conditioning. What's your equipment like? How could you make it better? If you take a little bit of a break and think about it, what are the pieces that you actually need? Number 9, same thing for your software. If you're using the same tool you've been using for a very long time, maybe it's time to look at some of the professional DAWs that are out there. Not having episodes to produce on a regular basis means you've got a little more time to get past that learning curve. So maybe it's a good time to upgrade your software, or maybe just explore your software. Maybe, like me, you got some real cool plug-in bundles for super cheap the other day, and you haven't really figured out the best way to utilize some of those. Well, again, not doing an episode all the time means you've got some time to go explore and make sure you're making the best possible product. And finally, number 10, it's a great time for you to gain some perspective. Just take that break. Just relax. Sit back, not think about it on a regular basis. Yeah, do all the 9 things I mentioned, but also just relax. Just chill out and not focus on everything for a while. Back to my importance of the health thing. Mental health is also really important. Speaking of all of that, guess what? I'm putting the show on break. This is the official end of Season 2 of Podcast Pontifications. Season 3 will begin sometime after my birthday. My birthday's in June, so it'll be sometime after that. I won't relaunch. I will just simply start putting out episodes of Season 3 of the podcast. So this is your official warning. No, I didn't know I was going to do it this way. I didn't even really plan on when I was going to do it, but it seemed like a good time to make the transition, so that's what's happening now. So stay subscribed, obviously. We'll still be here. I do have some bonus content that I already have in the well that I need to get pushed out, but I'll be doing everything that I just mentioned for the next few weeks as I take the show, Podcast Pontifications, on to break, prepping for Season 3. So, with that, I'll remind you, go to podcastpontifications.com. We've got 310 episodes. You're going to see lots of changes to that site over the coming weeks, and lots more great things coming out. Be safe, stay well, and I shall be back soon with Season 3 of Podcast Pontifications. Cheers!